Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. Jimmy Olsen transforming into things. It's a good time. So you need to know about it. I just had to decide which transformation should we start with. There are so many choices. Genie Jimmy Olsen, Octopus Jimmy Olsen, Porcupine Jimmy Olsen. But no, that isn't good enough. It needs to be something really special for the first of what is sure to become a glorious playlist. So we're going to be starting off with Giant Turtle Man Jimmy Olsen. A Jimmy Olsen who gave me intense bargain basement Godzilla vibes. With a purposeful grimace and a terrible sound, he pulls the spitting high tension wires down. Helpless people on subway trains scream "Bugad" as he looks in on them. Go, go Jimmy Olsen. This story also features a guest appearance by one of Superman's Silver Age loves, Lori Lemaris. Few people today even remember her. She was a mermaid. They met while he was a student. She was at school pretending to be a human. She was hiding her fins in a wheelchair. And Superman knew their love was meant to be because she had two L's for initials. He can't resist. He has a problem. He's compelled. Alright, who's ready to see Jimmy transform into a giant lizard? I know I am. I am also prepared to remind you that I have merch now, so if you want a super comfy shirt, sweatshirt, or hoodie repping the Casually Comics code, check it out. Link is down below. Now one last thing before we get started. I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Join us in this comic book journey. This tale comes to us from Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, issue 53. Released in 1961, it was written by Superman co-creator Jerry Seigel, with art by Curt Swan. It's the second story in this comic, 2 of 3. And actually the first story, there's mention of it in the second. There's a brief appearance of canon. That doesn't always happen in these. Jimmy Olsen's antics, breaking the canon barrier. So cliff notes for the first story. Jimmy goes on a cultural exchange to Kandor and shrinks down and swaps lives with a local, like a wife swap episode. Only the ray that got him there breaks and he's stuck there for a bit. Angst and drama ensue. But we're not here to see Jimmy get small. We're here to see him get big and mutate into a grotesque lizard turtle thing. The teaser page is amazing. Great Scott! Why is Jimmy stuffing the volcano crater with a battleship? What on earth is his huge twisted turtle mind up to? I don't know, but I need to find out. The Giant Turtle Man. Jimmy, Lois, and Clark are on vacation on a cruise. It's a 10-day vacation. Why are they going? I don't know. So Jimmy can turn into a giant turtle? That itself is worth the price of admission, unless Perry is paying for this. Is this a work trip? They dock for a few hours and Lois goes to buy some souvenirs. Jimmy says he wants to go explore and Clark makes some excuse about staying on the ship to read a book so that he can go do Superman things. So Lois and Jimmy decide to meet up on the beach in 1 hour. While exploring, Jimmy just happens upon a mysterious chest and he opens it, and inside is a ray gun of some kind with many knobs and dials. So he decides to shoot indiscriminately at things and see what happens. This is the person that Superman keeps giving all those souvenirs to. Jimmy, ooh, what does that button do? Olsen. He shoots a snail and it dramatically increases in size. Oh my gosh, the ray enlarged that snail till it became as big as a house. Thank goodness it's crawling back to sea. Yes, thank goodness. Now it can destroy the local ecosystem. No harm done. The Afro-Caribbean Isles thank you for the giant snail. And Jimmy just keeps on shooting things. By the time Lois shows up, he's enlarged the sea sponge and it's giant. Suddenly Jimmy is, better turn this off. Don't want anybody to get huge like a skyscraper, which Jimmy would know all about. See issue 28, Jimmy Olsen, the human skyscraper. When they get back on the ship, he's brought the ray with him. He stands too close to a magnet. This specifically the magnetic crane that the ship was using to get some scrap metal up. And this activates his signal watch and it sends a message out into space to Superman. Oh, that's Jimmy summoning me. I hope it's something important because I deliberately stayed behind on that island so that I could safely switch to Superman and spend a few days in outer space on a vital mission. Super important. Jimmy found a ray gun and he is enlarging things with it. Superman actually does feel it's a little important because he knows that Jimmy is a disaster human. So he tells him don't use the ray. He's gonna be in space, so come on, keep it together for a few days. Lois too. He's got things to do in space. His warning, however, was for naught. For while Lois is showing off her souvenirs, one of which is a little turtle, Jimmy manages to accidentally knock into the ray and turn it on, and then shoot the ray through the turtle and then through to himself. The turtle acts like a fly. We're playing with the fly transformation rules and it alters Jimmy's DNA. He's mutating now and getting huge. My body's changing too, becoming scaly and armor plated like a turtle shells. Okay, I still don't see it as particularly turtly. Jimmy gets off the boat before he capsizes it, but he's already lost the power of human speech. And Superman's in space, so the world has to deal with giant turtle man Jimmy Olsen for a few days. And he causes havoc. He rips the Metropolis bridge in half and takes the pieces and stuffs them into a volcano. Then he does the same with some submarines submarines, and he uses the transatlantic cable to lasso a battleship. So Superman comes back to all of this, and look at his face. He's so resigned. Can't leave Jimmy alone for 5 minutes, let alone days. Jimmy, you young fool! Why didn't you listen to me? Why did you tamper with that ray? Why didn't you take the ray from Jimmy and drop it off on your fortress on the way back to space? This is issue 53. You've had examples. You know how Jimmy is. We all know how Jimmy is. Superman is just about to remove Turtle Jimmy from the Earth because he says there's nothing that he can do when he's stopped by a telepathic message from the mermaid Lori Lemaris. She tells him it's not Jimmy's fault. No, this is the fault of an Atlantean named Goxo. Goxo is the inventor of this ray, and he's been telepathically controlling Jimmy. For his crimes, Goxo was to be exiled next year to the surface world. Tuning on his mind, we discovered he was preparing for his exile in a scientific laboratory given to him in the hope he would become reformed through useful work. Goxo invented a growth ray. Goxo put a feature in where if you accidentally enlarged yourself, he would gain telepathic control of you. How? I don't know. Don't question the science. But why throw metal into a volcano? Wait for it. There was pirate treasure on this island where the volcano was. Goxo wanted it for himself so that his exile would be spent in style. At least that's the assumption I'm inferring because they don't come out and say that. But based on what's there, the context cues, I think that's probably why he wants it. But there was a geology expedition set to explore and catalog the volcano, so he was worried they would find the treasure. So he wanted to cover the island in molten steel so they wouldn't find it, instead of using the giant turtle man under his control to dig up the treasure and move it somewhere else. Sure, that would be effective, but would it be as cool as stuffing a battleship into a volcano? I don't think so. Look out, you melted my battleship. Superman then decides that he'll use Brainiac's shrinking ray on Jimmy, which he always had, so he could have tried that in the first place before deciding it was time to yeet his pal into space. The shrinking also somehow removes the turtle DNA from Jimmy, so he's back to normal, but confused and doesn't really remember anything. Superman brings Jimmy with him to get the pirate treasure. Poor disoriented and in his underwear Jimmy. The end! What an amazing adventure. A plan that relied entirely on someone being clumsy and/or irresponsible. Jimmy Olsen was both those things, and he transformed some of the other creatures. He overachieved. Did anybody go and shrink that giant snail back down to size? Because they really should. Also the big turtle, that too. Are we just gonna forgive Jimmy for the destruction and loss of lives he caused? There were people on that bridge. Lois reported that Jimmy was the turtle man. She snitched right away, so everybody knows. Who's gonna pay for all these damages? Is Superman gonna have to fix it? Probably. That's why he wanted to throw Jimmy into the sun. He's like, again. This story is silly, but pretty par for the course for this time period of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. It's an average Jimmy Olsen story, which means get excited because we have way more wacky to explore. We're gonna experience this comic to the fullest. We've got to get to the planet of Jimmy's. This would not be the only appearance of the giant turtle Jimmy Olsen. He would reappear in this series, also in the 2020 series, which would pay tribute to all the shenanigans from this original run. He would look more like a turtle in that one. The iconic image of Jimmy at the bridge, which was already a reference to the cover of another magazine, would find its way into adaptation in The Brave and the Bold. So giant turtle man Jimmy left his mark. So yes, that was the turtle man transformation of Jimmy Olsen. What'd you think? Do you want to see Jimmy turn into more things? Should Superman just have tossed him into space? What would you do if you found a random ray on the beach? Share all of your thoughts down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.